mean, when your book review starts out with "this book is a book that everyone needs to read," that's going to be a glowing review. But I think it's true. We all need to read this. And in this book, you take a look at what life is going to be like in 2040.
Yes, I took a long-term approach. As I indicated, we're all getting older as parents. And for those of us with an autistic child, soon to be adults, those who are already in adulthood, it's frightening.
Yeah.
And it really makes you wonder what's going to happen with all the changes going on a global scale. Where exactly does my child fit into the picture?
Yeah.
And how will his or her life be without me?
Yes, and you talk about employment, and
Yes.
this is a subject that we've been talking about a lot on the show, the importance of employment and the right employment and the support so that employment can work. You mentioned that you have an 18-year-old son.
Yes.
And you're somebody who's worked within this field for many years. What are you looking at, and what do you hope for your son?
I hope that employers will get training, that employers will recognize the tremendous potential and the tremendous skill set that autistic adults have to offer, and realize that there may be supports needed in place. There may be a need for a job coach, or perhaps extending the training period, that they may have to make some modifications, not many physical modifications, but perhaps a soundproof work area, or having low density lighting, having someone to recognize that these young adults don't multitask very well. They tend to focus on a given task, and they do it very well.
Yeah.
And they need time, and they need the right supportive environment to thrive.
And we more and more people in our community are describing something called the cliff, that there comes an age and a time when you lose services and you go over the cliff. In some states that's 18, in other states it's 21, in other
Yes.
states it's 27, and it could be other ages as well. Do you, as a parent, I feel like you're a little bit ahead of the curve here. You've written the book,
Well,
right?
well, thank you.
But do you feel like you're coming to a cliff with your son, who's 18 years old?
I do, and that was part of the motivation for writing the book. I wanted to get the word out. For so long, I think we as an autism community collectively, we've been somewhat isolated, and we've been fragmented, and we tend to isolate somewhat in cliques.
Yeah.
And I think it's time that we come together. There needs to be a sense of urgency, but also a sense of cohesiveness, that we support each other and network with one another. And I felt it was so important for me to be here today to share that exact message. No matter what our beliefs are, our kids are all moving rapidly towards adulthood, and it's time for us to prepare the best world we can while we have the opportunity.
Absolutely. So talk to us about 2040.
2040.
Just the idea of it spins my head. I can't even imagine. What do you think are some of the challenges that are going to be happening in 2040, and what do you think will have changed that will make it better?
Well, I think one of the major changes will be financial. Unfortunately, not all autistic adults will be left with a trust fund. The parents simply can't provide one. Poverty will be a real reality for some of these young people on the spectrum. And as we move towards 2040, they will be middle-aged adults themselves by then. Financial housing will be a major issue. I think contractors and the building industry needs to recognize that you simply can't put these adults in an environment where there may not be support for their lifestyles. Healthcare, we've got to mention that. So many of these young adults have multiple issues. They have issues that prevent them from moving into the workplace on a full-time basis. However, many of them can work part-time. And I think if employers could recognize that part-time employment would mean the world, would make a tremendous difference in the lives of these adults. That would be a wonderful thing. I think on a positive note, we're seeing some changes taking place now as more companies are starting to recognize the unique talents that these adults have to offer, and they're adjusting their work environment to accommodate them. So I think we're starting to see some positive change, but we've got a long way to go and a lot of work to do.
Absolutely. Do you have a website, George?
Yes, I do. My website is Optimal, that's OPTIMAL, optimalhealthcaresolutions.com/adult autism 2, the number 2.
Wonderful. And again, the book is Who Will Care for Them by George Williams.